little tour of Verellen. This is kind of where it all began for me many years ago here in North Carolina. Just the way it feels. It's not everything you touch, but it's everything you feel when you walk in the space that I try to bring to my projects. They are a tremendous example of the texture, the warmth, and really the vibe that I love. So I want to tell you that story, and let's go in. Mr. Tom Verellen, and I like to remember the first time that we met. I don't know if you remember, but it was my first time in High Point. You were in a very crude building. I think Go Home is in it now, I don't know. We stumbled upon it. I really didn't know much about what I was doing. You may not have known exactly what you were doing, but we were, looking for cool things. I was trying to find something I could love at High Point. I stumbled into the shop and I could see real linen. I remember touching all the fabrics. I was like, whatever this is, it was the one thing that hit from my first, market experience. We all really crave this wabi-sabi naturalism. For me, that's what I love about Verellen, but it was your mission. So what were your dreams? What were you hoping for?
So the dreams were, we felt there was a void. I was in textiles from early 90s until 99, and I saw a void. Void in the market that was all about dog eats dog out there, and everybody was kind of doing the same, middle, high end, and low end as well. And so I had access to the textile world that nobody else did because we were in manufacturing and converting overseas. So I was already in the US selling the bakers of the world, and I saw, just like I said, a big void, something that wasn't there. And we said, let's really truly make a sofa that is all about living in it, sitting in it, but experiencing it, not afraid to use it.
What I'm amazed about every market, which is 6 months apart, there's a new vision. And this particular market, what's on the floor, I see you bringing in the earthy greens. And for me, this biophilism is the term for when you connect the indoors and the outdoors. We say it all the time. I mean, it's something, it's just natural for us as designers to want to see that connection. I'm constantly rearranging, I'm moving art, I'm leaning art. We just don't want to feel like people are uptight and refined. I think we share that.
Yeah, it's meant to be experienced, right? I mean, I think we want it for every room, and the formal room, as we all know it, is long gone. And so we try to make it for the entire home, whether it's your favorite beach home in Laguna or something like that, or whether it's something in Telluride or here on the North Carolina coast. So we're a little bit for everywhere now. We used to be very coastal and very resorty towny, but now we've gone to the New York lofts and Paris and London and Dubai and Auckland, New Zealand and Tokyo, Japan.
Well, I think it's because people just by nature want to be comfortable. That's the number one question
Correct.
I get.
I agree.
And then they don't want to have to care that much. We want to let loose. We want our dog on the sofa. I mean, look at all of it.
All of it.
We want our children to be able to waller on our sofas. I want to eat on my sofa. I want to put my feet up on the furniture. And that's really the message I get from Verellen.
Yeah, and then the heirloom quality behind it, right? So we know that it's gonna withstand the elements of abuse and the elements of just people living on it, and because you can either recover it or you can pass it on forward to the next generation. And We've done a lot of actually upfitting and kind of switching out covers for clients that have had something 5, 10, 15 years.
That's really a great quality.
Because they just don't want to let go of it, and why? And I think that's why we're not in that fast fashion, right? We're in that slow fashion. It's something that's hip, but it's timeless. It's on point, but not just for the season. And down with the quality as we strive to keep, and where we are just trying to exceed our own expectations day after day, that story gets told, and it's kind of the brand that's not the brand, but people seeking it out because they know what it stands for. And if you've experienced it and you've placed it and you've lived with it, it just tells and sells itself. So.
Oh, it does. Even the stitching, the way that the serging is done, and the continual change in offerings of those really help us design. So besides the forms, it's the details. I love that you've brought in wood. This natural dry flat walnut is really the main story. I haven't really found anyone that can replicate it as beautifully as you guys have on lamps, tables, legs of benches. I don't know. I just have no trouble selling Verellen, and I have clients say...
We know that. It's got to be experienced before you really get it. But I think once you walk through that door and you smell something, you sense something, you hear something, and you finally feel and not sit on it. It was kind of having grown up with it and kind of having been bottle fed that sense of style from me as a kid going to fashion shows with my mom and my sisters, and then with Sabine and her sisters, was just the element of surprise, right? Look at things outside your industry to really apply that to ours, like the little details, the little unique stitching, the little a very special new flange, a little whatever you can think of is like, we're gonna try it, and if we feel there's a home for it with us, then we're gonna do that. But I think it's also the sense of manufacturability, right? It's kind of that Belgian conception. Our old slogan was Belgian conception, American perfection.
I forgot that. Oh, that's good.
And that's
Belgian,
how we started. Conception, right? We
American
grew up there.
perfection.
American perfection, because we're making it by hand
I
right
didn't know that
here,
slogan.
just 5 miles down the street. So it's a craftsmanship of what's here. It's probably the vision that we have as a family, just having grown up on that side of the pond. And now it resonates back to that side of the pond too, because they have progressed and moved up and on to kind of the very colder shapes, what they're used to for many years from a lot of European brands. The really high-end crowd is really starting to really want this too again, because it's full cycle. Everything cycles, whether it's 5, 7, or 15 years later. I feel they're back ready for something more that's just not a beautiful object, but I want to live in it, like you said earlier. We want to just experience it, just kind of. And then to juxtapose old and new, people starting to do all that stuff again, right? Old with new.
Just a little element of traditionalism is back.
Absolutely.
And I find that goes along with overstuffing, slip covers, unusual components, eclecticness. I'm with you. I feel it, and it just starts to stir this change. So the hard edges, the modern edges, the grays, the cool tones, I've actually never loved, but I've worked amongst them. But this is really my home. This is when I feel comfortable. This is what resonates. And this is what I'm trying to bring to my clients, a different way of living. They're just not used to it.
You're doing it. We know you are. Awesome. Awesome.
Thank you, Tom.
Thank you.